Across the globe, a strange and ancient feeling can arise on certain days, a quiet sense of unease, a whisper of caution. It's as if the air itself carries a secret, and the world seems to pause just for a moment to listen. These are the days when old stories and hidden fears seem to drift through the streets, brushing past us like shadows in the morning mist. This feeling is tied to a specific date, Friday the 13th. It's a day that stands out on the calendar, marked by a sense of anticipation or even dread for many people. For some, it's just another day, blending in with the rest of the week. They go about their routines, perhaps noticing the date only in passing, unaffected by the stories that swirl around it. For others, it's steeped in superstition, a time when bad luck feels more likely. This belief isn't new. It's woven into the fabric of daily life, influencing small rituals and choices, avoiding ladders, watching for black cats, or carrying lucky charms. Its roots stretch back centuries, showing how stories shape our perception of the world. Ancient manuscripts and folklore reveal how deeply these ideas are embedded in our collective memory. The idea that a day can be unlucky is curious. Why do we let a simple date hold such power over our thoughts and actions? It's a question that has fascinated thinkers for generations. Our planet spins on, but we assign meaning to numbers and days. We create patterns and stories, searching for order in the chaos of time. Friday the 13th is the most famous of these unlucky days in Western culture. Its reputation has spread far and wide, influencing everything from movies to hotel floor numbers. It's the result of two separate fears, the number 13, long considered unlucky, and the day Friday, which has its own dark associations in history and myth. When combined, they create a powerful symbol, a day that commands attention and, for some, real anxiety. Even those who don't believe in superstitions might pause, if only for a second, when the date appears. Understanding this superstition reveals how our ancestors tried to make sense of a chaotic world. Through rituals, stories, and shared beliefs, they found comfort and a sense of control, even in the face of the unknown. So let's journey back in time to explore the origins of these two omens and how they merged. By tracing their paths through history, we can see how fear and imagination intertwine. This is a story of numbers, days, and the enduring power of human imagination. It's about how we give meaning to the world around us, and how those meanings can echo through generations. The tale of Friday the 13th shows how ideas, once rooted in culture, can cast a long shadow over our modern world. Even today, the whispers and shadows of the past linger, shaping the way we see a single day on the calendar. The number 13 has carried a heavy burden for ages, its reputation shadowed by centuries of superstition and fear. Across cultures and continents, this number has been whispered about, avoided, and even feared, as if it holds a mysterious power over fate itself. Its roots run deep in both mathematics and mythology, where numbers were believed to shape the very order of the universe. 12 was seen as perfect, 12 months in a year, 12 zodiac signs circling the sky, 12 tribes of Israel forming a complete whole. This number represented balance, structure, and cosmic harmony. 13 disrupts this harmony, becoming the outsider, the number that doesn't quite fit, forever cast in the role of the interloper. Norse mythology tells of 12 gods feasting in Valhalla, a scene of celebration and unity among the divine. But when Loki, the 13th guest, arrives uninvited, the joyous gathering turns dark, and tragedy unfolds, forever marking 13 as a harbinger of misfortune. This story cements 13 as a bringer of chaos, a number that upends order and brings calamity in its wake. The pattern is clear. 12 is order, completeness, and safety. 13 is trouble, the element that disturbs the peace and unsettles the balance. At the Last Supper, 13 dined. Jesus and his 12 apostles gathered for a final meal, a moment heavy with significance. Judas, the betrayer, was the 13th at the table, his presence forever linking the number to betrayal and doom. This association in Christian tradition further deepened 13's connection to death, misfortune, and the breaking of sacred trust. Even ancient law avoided 13. The Code of Hammurabi famously omits a 13th law, as if to sidestep its ominous influence. Whether through myth, religion, or numbers, 13 became a symbol of disruption and misfortune, a number that cultures around the world learned to treat with caution. Its unlucky reputation was set long before it was tied to any particular day, woven into the very fabric of human history and belief. Just as the number 13 has long been shrouded in superstition and mystery, so too has Friday carried its own heavy burden of misfortune. The two together, Friday and 13, have become almost synonymous with bad luck. But even on its own, Friday has a reputation that stretches back through the centuries. In Christian tradition, Friday is believed to be the day of Jesus' crucifixion, a day marked by sorrow, reflection, and caution. This association with tragedy and loss set the tone for how Fridays would be viewed for generations to come. For centuries, people across Europe and beyond considered it unlucky to start new ventures, sign important contracts, or hold weddings on a Friday. The day was thought to bring misfortune to any new beginning, and many would go out of their way to avoid making major decisions. Folklore adds even more weight to Friday's reputation. Some say it was the day Eve tempted Adam in the Garden of Eden, leading to humanity's fall from grace. Others claim Friday was the day of the Great Flood, when the world was swept away by water as punishment for its sins. In Britain, Friday became known as Hangman's Day, the traditional day for executions. It was a day when justice, or sometimes injustice, was carried out in the most final way. For the condemned, Friday was the unluckiest day of all, a day when hope was lost and fate was sealed. Even sailors, known for their own superstitions, avoided setting sail on Fridays, fearing disaster would surely follow any voyage begun on this day. The Royal Navy's legendary HMS Friday, launched and captained by a man named Friday, supposedly vanished without a trace on its maiden voyage, fueling the myth that the day itself was cursed. Whether these stories are fact or fiction, they have been told and retold, reinforcing Friday's reputation for misfortune and making it a day to be wary of. Over time, the day became marked by a sense of foreboding, a cultural stain that proved hard to wash away, lingering in the collective memory. Friday's unlucky character was deeply rooted in both history and legend, woven into the stories and beliefs of countless generations. It was a day to be approached with caution, not celebration, a day when even the bravest might think twice before tempting fate. For centuries, the fear of 13 and the suspicion of Friday existed separately. People avoided 13 at tables and postponed journeys that began on Fridays, but the specific dread of Friday the 13th is surprisingly modern. There's little evidence anyone worried about this date in ancient times. The combination emerged in the 19th century as folklore and spiritualism flourished. People reasoned if Friday is unlucky and 13 is unlucky, then Friday the 13th must be doubly so. This fusion gave rise to a new superstition, a date that could be anticipated and feared. One dramatic story often linked to Friday the 13th involves the Knights Templar. On Friday, October 13th, 1307, King Philip IV of France ordered the arrest of the Templars. Hundreds were imprisoned, tortured, and many executed, including their Grand Master. This event is often cited as the origin of the superstition. It's a compelling tale, conspiracy, betrayal, and a tragic date. However, historians find no evidence that people saw Friday the 13th as unlucky because of this event until much later. The connection was popularized in the 20th century by authors and storytellers. The Templar story is dramatic, but it's more a retrofitted explanation than the true origin. The real superstition grew gradually, not from a single event. The fear of Friday the 13th is fueled by personal stories and urban legends. Everyday misfortunes, flat tires, spilled coffee, are blamed on the date, reinforcing its reputation. Urban legends tell of skeptics tempting fate on Friday the 13th, only to meet bizarre accidents. These tales serve as modern fables, warning against mocking superstition. In the late 1800s, the 13 Club formed to defy the superstition, meeting on the 13th and breaking taboos. Their goal-proof 13's unluckiness was nonsense. The club grew popular, even attracting US presidents. Ironically, their efforts may have kept the superstition alive in public conversation. The more people tried to debunk it, the more attention it received. Friday the 13th's legend thrived on stories both fearful and defiant. In the 20th century, Friday the 13th exploded into pop culture. The 1907 novel Friday the 13th popularized the superstition, linking it to financial disaster. The story's success cemented the date as a day of danger in the public mind. The superstition got another boost in the 1980s with the horror film Friday the 13th. The film's villain, Jason, made the date synonymous with terror for a new generation. Media coverage, movies and books turned the superstition into a cultural event. Even those who aren't superstitious know the day's reputation. Friday the 13th became a familiar landmark on our calendar. The belief in Friday the 13th has real effects. Some people experience genuine anxiety avoiding travel or important decisions on this day. Businesses lose money as people postpone purchases or trips. Ironically, studies sometimes show fewer accidents on Friday the 13th. People are more cautious. The superstition has inspired unique traditions. Tattoo parlors offer deals, horror movie marathons abound, and social media buzzes with jokes. What began as a source of fear has become a playful cultural event. Friday the 13th is now a day to engage with folklore in a safe, entertaining way. The superstition shapes behavior, economy, and even how we celebrate. It's a testament to the enduring power of belief. Friday the 13th is more than a date. It's a tapestry of ancient fears, folklore, and pop culture. Two separate superstitions merged to create a belief that survived science and reason. It persists because it speaks to our need for patterns and stories to explain the unknown. From Norse myths to horror movies, each tale adds to the legend. The power of Friday the 13th lies not in bad luck, but in the stories we share. It's a harmless way to acknowledge that the world can still surprise us. As long as we tell stories, the whisper of Friday the 13th will endure. It's a curious relic, a reminder of the strange journey of ideas that shape our lives.